Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you about this podcast. It's called The DK Project, but it's really The Darren Show. The DK Project is a radio show, but without the radio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Let's go!
Today's episode is brought to you by the Lost Lake Creamery, located in Mound in the Harbor District. If you're on the bike, it's off the Dakota Trail. If you're in the boat, it's on the north end of Cooks Bay. Just look for the Lost Lake Channel. Plenty of parking provided by the city. If you're by car, 5575 Shoreline Drive. Stop in, 24 flavors of hard scooped ice cream, old-fashioned ice cream parlor. We're open for the season. Noon to 9 on the weekends, 2 to 9 during the week. Make sure to stop in and see us. Welcome back to the DK Project. Coming at you strong with a new guest zooming in, Andrea Sooch. I was just reading, and they had a little video, and you were labeled as the mafia matriarch. Is that what you're going with? How are you today?
On occasion, yes.
Where are you located today?
Right now, I am in sunny Asbury Park, but
Nice.
I am New York based, so I'm sitting by a lake, you see.
Oh, sure.
Pretty. So
Very
I'm
nice.
enjoying COVID life here in the dacha.
Yeah, how is that? Is it
We've been very, very lucky with my other half. We didn't get sick. We have this beautiful opportunity to stay here in the country house.
mm-hmm.
So I'm here for a year now. And when I need to go back to New York, I do. But most of the things are remote.
Now,
So
New
I'm
York's
enjoying
pretty well
ocean
shut
life.
down still, isn't it?
What's that?
Has New York starting to open up at all?
I would not know enough about it because I'm not there that often. It's not what it used to be before COVID, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I love that city, so I have all the confidence that it will bounce back very soon.
When it gives you the opportunity to be at the country house, right?
Yes.
That's perfect. I was noticing on your IMDb that you've got quite a list of things going on. The one that we were referring to earlier was Claws on that's a series, and you're playing a Russian mob.
Yes. I was in season 1 and some of season 2 playing Riva, this awesome Russian mob boss lady who was strong and she knows what she wants and she's not afraid to get it. I
She's
loved her.
Tough, right?
Tough. I loved her dearly. One of my favorite characters. And we were filming in New Orleans.
Okay.
How cool is that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Really. And is that shut down now, or is that just off because of COVID?
They are airing their last and final season, which is season 4.
Okay.
So please stay tuned. I think it's a June air date.
Nice.
And yeah, that was the end of this journey. It was just the loveliest memories with the cast. It was such a great tribe. And we had such an amazing time together.
Well, and it's such an interesting role in that you kind of get to play the tough gal, and I haven't seen much of the series, but I'm definitely going to check it out now because I was kind of snooping around to see a little bit more about what you've been working on, and now I'm kind of intrigued. But you were also in the John Wick chapter 3.
Yes, that was awesome too.
How was that?
God, it was kind of out of body when your chair is right next to Keanu.
Yeah.
I was pinching myself. Amazing. Such an amazingly giving person.
Well, we need some scoop on that now.
Me. It it was amazing to be in the same scene with him. It was amazing to have this scene with him. So I just am so fortunate to work with the folks.
Is he as nice in real life as because you don't see much about him. He kind of doesn't come up very often anywhere. But I've heard he's a good dude.
I had a best time, very good experience, so down to earth, giving, kind, amazingly generous as an actor, as a partner, as a human, just chatting, between takes, just like such a mensch. A lovely person.
Is that done now, John Wick?
I think they're gearing up for 4.
Yeah, it looks like they have a 2022 for number 4.
That's
But
what
you're
I
not in
heard.
that one?
I don't know. Am I? TV
Time will
gods.
tell, right?
That would be great. I would be all for it.
Well, maybe after this they'll know that you're ready to go now that you put the
Maybe.
word out there. Hey, explain to me a little. Now you're from Budapest, is that right?
Yes.
And now you were trained as a therapist?
I am trained as a therapist. I am actually in private practice in Manhattan. We have a private practice called the Relationship Suite, mainly working with couples and individuals. So, it goes back to the story that my dad was an academic and my mom is a pianist.
Yeah.
So I was growing up with this left brain, right brain thing as mother's milk. I was performing from the age of 6, but my dad kind of gave me an ultimatum that that's cool, but you have to get a quote real diploma. So I graduated as a teacher. So I always did both. And then when I came here to the US, I went to AMDA, which is a performing art school. But I also went to Fordham, which is a social work school, and I'm teaching there. I'm a professor at Fordham. So back to the alma mater. And, it's the same thing. It's like human behavior. You try to understand a character, you understand your client, you understand another human. So I really don't see it much different at its core. And of course, the objective is different. But I think being a psychotherapist makes me a better actor, and being an actor makes me a better psychotherapist. So I really see it going hand in hand.
Well, and that was going to be my question: is do you find that helps you, get into character a little easier because you're more into the mental aspect of it? Because you're talking about, it's very rare for someone to be as accomplished as you are in acting and still have a career as a therapist. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
It's not so. I'm gauging that there's probably some crossover benefit to it by like you said, it is just the human psyche that, and when you're getting into character, you just need to find the zone, I guess.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. At the end of the day, both professions build on one notion: unconditional positive regard. Right?
Right.
If I judge my character, if I judge Riva, or if I judge anybody else, and with my accent, I usually play the villain, right? Or the spy or the double agent, which is fun, right. But usually they're not like you warm and fuzzy characters. It's not the hero, it's the anti-hero, the villain. So if I don't find the humanity and the lovable and the lovely in those characters, it's going to be unwatchable.
Yeah, well, and that's a good point, because it's with that accent, you generally are going to be cast as the villain.
And it's fine. I love to be the villain. It's really fun. It's love. My favorite acting coach, Tim Phillips, always says that if you know who she is, you don't have to act.
Right.
And he's so right. And my other favorite improv teacher, David Rozovsky, says that dare to be lovely.
Dare to be lovely.
Yeah, which I always, because, none of us want to be difficult. None of us want to be hated. So whatever humans do, we think this is the best thing to do right now.
Right. And
it's the same in therapy. Like, we hear a lot of stories. If I start to judge that issue or judge this problem or have an opinion about it, it's not going to be successful. So I think in both professions, as an actor and as a therapist, listening to that story, to that character, to that client, to this other who is not me, because there are only two things in this word, me and not me. Right? I mean, There is nothing else at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So if I can listen to the not me with unconditional positive regard, with no judgment, listening carefully, you're home free, right?
Right. Well, there you have it. Right. So now the therapy portion of it, you're online listed as a drama therapist. What does that mean?
That's my secondary degree. The primary is a social worker, right? So a drama therapist is a therapist who uses tools of drama and the theater in a therapeutic content. So it goes back to role. How many roles do we play in life? It goes back to Robert Landy's role theory. It's embodied.
Right.
It's acted out. It's not just in the head, right? You can try out things. That's another thing that Tim Phillips says a lot. Look who I get to be today.
Yeah.
So it's and psychodrama. I'm also trained in psychodrama. It's kind of like psychotherapy in action.
Wow.
So how can you reframe an event in action, acting it out? Psychodrama, I know it's not a good name. It's kind of everybody like psychodrama, you know, but it's not like that. It's more like the drama of, you know, how to put everything in action, how to put it more in the body, how to embody action. So I really enjoy doing those.
Wow. And
modalities.
How has that changed for you with the pandemic? Because I would imagine in your therapy sessions, you were generally had an office somewhere and they came in to meet with you, right?
Yeah, we actually had 2 in Manhattan.
And now you're all Zoom?
So now we are on telehealth and Zoom, on dedicated Zoom accounts.
Yeah.
And it works better than I thought.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings up a couple of questions now. I don't currently have a therapist, but I have some podcasts that I listen to where they do online, you know, that they Zoom or however. And I was always wondering how they make that secure, but you can get a dedicated connection to where it can't be hacked.
Yeah. And then also there are a lot of like telehealth is, you know, safe at a couple of platforms who specialize in those. Yes. And I'm teaching at university, so we have dedicated, you know, accounts too.
And are you currently teaching at the university?
Yes, I am.
I'm actually very thankful that you were able to squeeze me in. How do you do all this? My gosh.
You know, that's the other advantage of Zoom, that there is no travel time. So there is no commute.
Right.
And which those helps. Couple of hours a day go a long way.
Boy, I'd say, you know, I never thought of that. I have, you know, I've been doing a lot more Zoom than I ever did, you know, because I always used to have guests in studio. But now that the Zoom has made it available and everybody, you know, we're forced to learn the you know, the how to use Zoom and you know, Skype and those, but you don't really hear much about those. I hear more Zoom than anything. But that's interesting. So do you think once we are able to move about the world again that you'll stay with this setup for therapy?
It's up to my clients. We do have the offices.
Yeah.
This private practice is not mine. It's called the Relationship Suite.
Mm-hmm.
And our boss is Rachel, and I adore her to pieces, and she's just amazing. And so we're going to go back on site, and some client would want to stay remote, which is fine. So probably we would just put our feelers out that who wants to come in person. Then probably the schedule would be more concentrated and packed on one day, you know, so.
Well, and I got to think that on two hands, it probably, or on one hand, it opens it up because a lot of people don't want to come in. They don't want to, you know, to commute or be face-to-face, where this, you know, it's just like social media stuff where everybody's got a lot more power behind them when they're just posting on social media or whatnot. But if you have to actually be face-to-face with someone, it's kind of a different environment. So it may, I would think it would actually broaden the clientele and bring in a lot of people that normally wouldn't go to counseling or therapy.
Luckily, we are very busy, and we always have been busy. It is a pivot, right? But this is how species survive. They pivot. Right. That's what evolution is about. So I think that we kind of just do whatever we do under the circumstances and make it work.
Exactly. Have you found that a lot of, I mean, obviously everybody's been affected by the pandemic, but has that really come into the therapy portion of it where people are really having a hard time with it?
Oh, for sure.
I'm so far removed from everybody sitting here in my studio, and, you know, I'm not out, talking to people every day where you're probably hearing the real bad side of it or good side of it. If there's been some good that's come out of it with people able to make businesses happen that normally wouldn't or whatever. That's very interesting. I guess number one, applaud you for the amount of work you're doing. Wow. I don't know. What do you just don't sleep? You just
No, actually, I sleep a lot. I'm one of the people who need to sleep 8 hours or else I'm not a pleasant person. And, some days it's not happening, but some day it's 9. So
wow.
I don't know. I think how it does it, I'm not a 9-to-5er.
Yeah.
So I schedule my client, what fits us both. There are a lot of self-tapes as an actor. So there are still not, so I don't need to travel to audition.
Right.
At university, I teach once a week. So it's not like.
Oh, now all of a sudden you don't have much going on. It sounds like it's a light load now.
I always was. It's once a week at the graduate level. Usually a certain class is once a week.
Wow.
And I'm teaching more course, but it's one class I'm teaching.
Right.
And it's called the field lab work, which kind of integrates the academic knowledge with the applied knowledge, which I really enjoyed. So it's not, I don't know how, it just aligned. I also believe that when we are in that flow zone, things flow, hence the name.
And you just have to,
things happen.
It just is the normal. So if you had to pick of all of the commitments you have, what's your favorite? Like, what do you enjoy the most?
Oh, it's such an unfair question.
It
is an unfair question. I don't even know what to say. You know how it is? It's like, how you have the burners on your stove?
Yeah.
And sometimes things are on the front burner, then they are on the side, then on the back burner. And, I'm lucky because I can always schedule everything. Because as an actor, let's face it, I'm not a star. So it's not like I'm shooting every day, 18 hours, right?
Right.
So if I'm shooting a day, even when I was shooting Claws, I was working maybe, 3 days out of the month, 4 days out of the month.
Okay.
So it's very easily rearrangeable, those days, even travel days on the plane. I never had a problem rearranging schedules with my clients and the acting stuff.
That's good.
So far. Yeah. And I'm sure that the other day I was working on the TV show FBI for one episode, and I saw 18 clients in 2.5 days.
Wow.
That was a lot. But, we all did it and we all got a lot out of it. So it's possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, outstanding. What are you working on now? Do you have any projects that you're movie-wise or film-wise?
Yes, I can't really talk about it because, these days we sign a lot of NDAs that go out with the auditions.
Mm-hmm.
But I just sent in 2 self-tapes this week for 2 projects I'm really, really interested in. I booked something, a role in a film that we're shooting in June. So that's exciting. So things are going on.
How do you
luckily
I do a lot of voiceover work, and
I hear that.
And
you have the most amazing voice. I just want to listen to you all the time.
Thank you. Oh, hold on, let me isolate that. We're going to want to save that. Special thanks to the good folks at Grady Restoration. If you're in need of some insurance restoration work, not sure if you have any hail damage, storm damage, wind damage, give them a call, 952-472-1570, or look them up on the web at GradyRestoration.com. The season is upon us. Time to start thinking about that outdoor landscape project you've been dreaming of. With everybody being home from the pandemic, you're sitting there looking at your lawn thinking, man, a pool would be nice. Well, wait no more. Maybe it's a fire pit. Maybe you want to enlarge that deck. Maybe you want to add a deck. You never know. Everybody's building houses and doing projects. Sometimes it's better to bring in the pros. Sit down with an NRD landscape design professional. They'll walk you through your options, lay it out, and execute. And you'll be sitting pretty by midsummer, baby. Give NRD Landscape Design a call at 952-212-2665 or look them up on the web at nrdlandscape.com. Don't forget to tell them you heard about it on the project. Time to talk a little tech. Something you may not be familiar with, but need to be. ExpressVPN. Did you know that sending unencrypted data is like sending a postcard through the mail? Everyone can see it. ExpressVPN protects you from hackers who try to steal your private information. ExpressVPN also gives you unrestricted access to all parts of the internet. This especially applies to those of us here in Minnesota, where Fox Sports North has decided not to work with anyone, so you can't get your favorite games on your TV. ExpressVPN allows you to reroute your connection to a server in a country of your choice, making geo-restrictions a thing of the past. ExpressVPN is offering my listeners 3 extra months when you sign up for a 12-month package. Go to expressvpn/the DK Project and click on the limited time offer for DK Project listeners. Start watching all the programming you want and unleashing stuff you didn't even know was out there. Netflix in other countries, Spotify in other countries, prices are different. What they're showing is different. Check it out. expressvpn/the DK Project. So auditioning is record it, send it in, hope for the best. How do you like that? How do you like that aspect of it? Obviously, you're saving the time, not having to run in and do auditions or whatever. But how do you like the, judging yourself and not having any? Because I found that when you have in-person auditions, that at times they'd give you a little direction or a little, you can feel the room. Where now you're just kind of like, stick it and throw it out there, see what happens. How's that been for you?
I like it more and more. Usually casting is specific of the direction where they would like to go. And then usually I throw in a wild card, which they absolutely didn't ask for. Like if they ask for perky and emotional, I put in like a robotic, Riva, like something. Just as a contrast. And then I send like 3-4 takes to my agents, and I trust which is the 1 or 2 they want to send to casting.
Right.
And my other half is so amazing. He like shifts his clients and everything so he can read with me. And we have a setup. I usually tape with my cell phone because I have an iPhone 11 and the camera is pretty good. But, we have the backdrops, the lights, the everything, because we're zooming with that anyway, with the lights and so, and one thing I really had to learn about self-tapes that I can't overthink it. Like once it's done, when I press send, I stop obsessing about it. Just like, when I left that room, when we were in the room, I stopped obsessing about it. So as soon as I press send, it's done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you got to get to the send button. That's my problem is, I'm my worst critic. And then, once I hit send, then it's over. I don't have to, you can't do anything about it. But getting to that point where you're, that's what I find to be very challenging for me. But, it's fun because, you get to explore. Is your significant other, are they in the business?
He's not an actor. He was a stand-up comic.
Oh.
But now he is the academic director of Columbia Spirituality Mind Body Institute. So he's a psychotherapist and a psychodramatist. And he also, he's the hope guy. He just wrote a book called Learned Hopefulness.
Oh, really?
That is,
oh, look at that shameless plug. I love it.
Yeah. Well, nobody sees it. No. So it's kind of like, our secret, but it's really good. So he appreciates, the performing and he appreciates the academia. So we think it's a really good fit.
How did you guys find each other? One of your 7 jobs, you both had the same thing? That's crazy.
Yes, actually, he's in his office. I'm in my office. And then we run into each other downstairs.
What about the, from a stand-up comic to therapy?
He was a stand-up comic back when.
Was he good? Just between you and I?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So why did he quit? It seems like such a fun deal.
I think that therapy seemed more fun and safe. But he, the way he teaches, the way he's funny, so he's edutaining.
Nice.
It's really, when you listen to him, it's a piece of entertainment while you're learning.
That's
so
awesome.
It's not like a stuffy, I teach you thing. It's really a pleasure.
Well, that makes such a big difference when you're
Yeah.
trying to pick something up or in a class or however. Just and that's with anything. If anybody, if they're dull and boring with anything, it's a snoozer. So that's cool. Wow, what a fun deal. It sounds like you've got the perfect work environment with a person to break lines down with you when you're auditioning. So
Yeah,
you've got a new one
absolutely.
coming up in June. What else you got cooking?
Well, the only thing booked is the June thing, and all the clients and the classes at Fordham. And this week we sent in 2 self-tapes. Last week we sent in 3 self-tapes. So hopefully we're going to hear something.
Because at that point, and I don't know how much detail you want to give out or not, but at that they're coming to you, right? Because you've got a distinct voice, and they're looking for someone generally, right? I mean, you're not just randomly throwing stuff out there, or is that
No.
is it more generalized?
No, it's not. I mean, I'm very specific.
Yeah.
It can be very good and it can be very limiting at the
Right.
same time.
Right.
So how it works is that, your agent sends in submissions, casting picks it up or not. And then the agent tells me this is what needs to be done. And then I send back a tape, and then the agent sends the tape and casting sends it to the production,
Sure.
and they either pick me or they don't.
Gotcha.
So in my category, the good news is that this pool is smaller
Mm-hmm.
than, the All-American pool. I do speak with an accent, as you hear. That could be anything, like I play Russians, Germans, Hungarian, any European nation, or
Right.
any non-American.
Right. And
Part. I doubt that I'm going to be playing an American ever. Even if I would speak with an American, I heard it that my vibe is not an American. So, so you just bring into this
who makes
room.
that decision? Your vibe is just not American.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, I was born in another country. I grew up on another continent for 28 years. So of course I'm not. We bring in who we are.
Well, exactly. And can you go to, just straight New York sounding, or no?
For a commercial, maybe I could.
Yeah.
Like, for a sentence or two, but for a part, I don't think I would. And I'm not really inspired to, because they have so many brilliant actors who are American, in my category, in my type. So why would they give, so I wouldn't even, it was just never something what I hoped for.
No, and that makes sense. How many different languages do you speak?
Fluently?
Yeah.
Okay, fluently English, Hungarian, German. And then I speak a little bit of Russian. When I was a kid, we grew up Soviet occupied.
Really?
So we had to learn Russian. It was mandatory in school. We had to sing the Soviet anthem before we sang the Hungarian.
Really?
So until 1989, that was the deal when the Iron Curtain fell.
Okay.
So I kind of have a very good understanding at Russian that serves me now when I played Riva, when I was auditioning for a series like Treadstone and other Russian-speaking parts, when I was on the blacklist as a Russian woman, Lena Volkova's mother, Katerina Rostova's mother, whose name was Lena. So I have a good understanding of the language. I can learn copy, but I couldn't carry a conversation.
Sure. Wow. Because you came to the United States in what, 94?
Mm-hmm. Late 94.
94. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So have you done any films or shows in Hungarian or German? Like played that role in full that language?
Sure. When I was living there, sure. I'm coming from the theater. So I was working in a theater in Hungary. We were doing TV in Hungary, in Germany, or in Austria. I lived in Austria for 6 years.
Okay.
In Vienna. I did a lot of musical theater. So that was my home. I was singing opera. I'm opera trained.
In different languages?
Well, when you sing opera, it's usually sang in the language it was written. So even if you don't speak the language, depending in which, if it was written in Italian, we sang it in Italian. If it was written in French, we sang it in French. So maybe
everybody
that's the
knows
other
that.
thing that, a good understanding of language came from, because even if I couldn't have a conversation in that language, I had a good understanding.
Wow, you're well traveled. That's awesome. So
It was
have you done
awesome. Yeah.
major films? Like have you done a John Wick level film in another language where it's done really well, or or not? But like
I
a major
have
motion
not
picture?
done film in Hungary. I have done television,
Okay.
and I have done I've not done film in Austria. In Austria, maybe I did one episode on a derrick or something like, which is like a Law and Order here in the US, which, most actors get a chance to have a part on it at some point in their career.
Yeah.
But I mostly did musical theater.
Wow. And you play violin?
I was a child professional violinist. Yes. Yeah.
Outstanding resume. That is
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. It really taught me professionalism.
yeah.
Because at 6, 7 years old, we really learned to respect the audience. Because if you really think about it, without the audience, we don't exist.
Sure. Well, and that type of an instrument is not like, drums or guitar. That it's not as mainstream per se, and you do have a certain amount of, and I almost want to say etiquette, but almost a certain amount of class that goes with playing that instrument that you don't find in every instrument. Let's say that.
Yeah. It's I was a kid, so I quit at 14.
Mm-hmm.
So I peaked at 13. But yeah, short-lived but fun. It was more about, really learning, as you said, the etiquette and the attitude and the love of the stage, the love of performing, the love of music, how to work in a team, how to really be professional and know your stuff.
Yeah.
When you go in and do something, and respect your team, your crew, your cast, your audience. So I think I really learned it at like age 7.
There's just not enough of that out there anymore. No one's learning that type of skill or to have that respect. That's very interesting. That and probably you've built on that ever since, I would imagine. Do you have a violin laying around the house?
I have 2, but I don't play them. It was a little comeback when the Broadway show Cabaret was auditioning.
Okay.
I was out on the road with the Wizard of Oz. And it's so funny we talk about it. Yesterday, we had a Zoom reunion for that Wizard of Oz cast.
Oh, really?
And it was, Jesus, over 20 years ago. We had Mickey Rooney as the wizard. We had Eartha Kitt as the Wicked Witch. Before Eartha, we had Roseanne as the Wicked Witch.
Really?
It was amazing.
Roseanne?
So it was lovely to see those people yesterday on Zoom. So Cabaret was opening. I was still out on the road with Oz. And when we got back, I auditioned for the replacement auditions. And I was on the A list because that was funny. Like, you had to play an instrument on a professional level. You had to speak German. You had to, sing. You had to dance. It was like, we did everything but taming lions and juggling oranges at that audition. It was fun.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was on the A list for that. Nobody left the show, so I never got a chance to go in. But that was the last time I played the violin. You can't keep up with everything. So
well, it sounds like you are.
No,
you let one thing slide.
No, yeah. But I do have 2 violins, and I look at them once in a while. But that's it.
They that's the one thing that proves that you're human. That you let the violin slide. You've kept everything else going, which is remarkable. And you so that traveling with the Wizard of Oz, that was a theatrical production?
Yes, it was a Madison Square Garden production. So we were on the road for about 2 years, and it was we traveled with 17 trucks.
Oh.
And the cast was flying, and we sat like at least a month, 4 to 6 weeks in every city. And the production was so big that we fit into like the garden, Roseland, what was Hummingbird, which was the Hummingbird in Toronto.
Wow.
So the sets were so big that we needed a big venue to fit in.
Wow, that's like as large a scale theatrical you can do, right? I mean,
it was really, really fun. And then every May we came back to the garden and we did six weeks in the garden.
Wow.
It was lovely. It was really nice.
How did you? Which appeals to you more, the acting for the camera or for the audience? Are you a lot of people?
It's another one of those unfair questions.
What's that?
It's another one of those unfair questions. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different. I mean, you can't compete with the intimacy of the camera and the opportunity to do it again and do it differently.
Right.
And then watch it from another standpoint and, have that tribe there, which is so specific to that moment. And you can't compete with that feeling that 5,200 people sing that song with you.
Wow.
At the end of the show. Like you just can't compare those for me,
Yeah, you're right.
I love both.
Wow. Have you done any theatrical stuff lately?
Yes, I have done some so-called straight theater. I was playing the lead in one of the productions of The Music Lesson, which was very close to me. I played Irena, who is this refugee from the then Yugoslavia. So it's a show written in 96. We did it in Stanford. I did some shows in New York City, off-Broadway. That is more challenging to fit into my schedule than on-camera work now.
I suppose. That would make sense. I do you, with the list of things that you've done, is it a lot like when you do an audition and you leave the room and you just close it out? Like when you were done with Riva, you just done? I mean, how do you not commingle your characters? Because they're all somewhat similar, like we say, you generally play a villain or the, so do you just close that out and I don't ever think about that again? Like how do you go from doing that for whatever, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, and then all of a sudden you just shut it down? I won't be that character again.
No, I love her. I never shut it down.
But how do you not mix your characters up is what I'm getting at. Like,
well, we all do. Think about yourself. How many roles do you play in your life?
Yeah.
Do you mix them up? Are they informing each other?
Yeah, probably.
If there is a new role coming in, like when you started to do your podcast, that was a new role.
For sure.
How did you how did you design that role? How did you, so it's all of us when we decide to do a new role. When I first started teaching, when I first became a therapist, it's all new roles.
Right.
And all these roles are informed by other roles we play. So I don't think it's different for an actor. I mean, we all take bits and pieces of our characters intuitively and consciously.
Right.
I use Riva all the time. Even, what I told you that, let's make her bubbly and like dramatic and soapy. And then my other half says, well, now just do a Riva. Right? Which is like the flip side of it. So we totally refer those do a Riva. Oh, that was very Riva. I love that character. And I think about her all the time. And I think about our tribe, our Claus family all the time. Because that's a very, very special journey for me.
Well, that's interesting. And then you were just saying that after 20 years, you got back together with the Wizard of Oz people. I imagine all these people being tech friendly with Zoom and these, that's more likely to happen. Because if you had to get all 20 or however many people from 20 years ago into a cafe or a bar, that's very hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
But to get them all together on Zoom, that's nothing. It
was great. So it was 44 people in the cast.
Wow.
And, Eartha is not with us anymore. Mickey is not with us anymore. Many people are not with us anymore. But I would say we had 20 people on that call yesterday.
Wow.
And we have a Facebook page, a private page for the cast and the crew. So it was just posted there and whoever wanted to hop on, it was really kind of like spontaneous, but it was amazing.
Yeah. Wow. How fun. That's very interesting. You had said that Roseanne filled in on that, like Roseanne.
Yeah, Roseanne was the first Wicked Witch before Eartha came on.
Okay.
So Roseanne did it in the garden the first time around. And then what happened, the sets were so big, they couldn't travel them. So they needed a year to rethink the sets so they could get into a truck and travel.
Oh, gotcha.
Because, it was huge. Like our production was exactly like the movie. It even started in black and white on stage. Imagine that.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing. It was like an extravaganza. So houses were flying, witches were flying, monkeys were flying. So imagine those 4 tracks and those technical things that needed to travel.
Sure. Wow. And back then, that's pretty amazing that they were able to do all of that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Imagine what they could do now with technology. Outstanding. Mm-hmm. Wow. How fun. I'm just amazed that you've got quite a list of accomplishments. I'm a little jealous that you're able to do all of these things and keep it all juggling up in the air. But so we've got one project coming out, and then you do commercials or any of that kind of stuff?
Well, again, commercials, I do a lot of commercial print. Commercials are kind of like, I feel that they really look at my accent as something they don't want, even if it doesn't speak.
Sure.
So that's one arena that I was never very successful at. Commercial print, yes. Like I'm very fortunate to have really big campaigns running still. Pharmaceutical and, a beautiful jewelry campaign with Effie last year.
Okay.
It was really nice. But the commercial world, I think, prefers more like standard American actors.
I saw a commercial online or a video. It was like a cosmetic thing or something.
Oh yeah, MF3. Yeah, this is my 9th year with them.
What is it? What is it called?
MF3.
MF3. That was the only thing that wasn't really jumping out at me in the ad. It was just down in the corner there, but you didn't have any speaking parts. You were dancing around and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm actually. It goes with identity. So I'm one of their spokes. It's an international company, so maybe that's why that it's not an American company.
Very cool.
I'm with them for 9 years. So this is my third 3-year contract with them.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. And when you say that, then it's obviously for a cosmetic company, how much is there to do for that? Like, are you doing every 3 months, you do another commercial or what, you know what I mean? Like what is the workload like for that?
Whatever they need me.
Yeah. You're just on call all the time as the gal?
One of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a few, probably different types. So
sure. Wow. Yeah. Super cool. Well, listen, Andrea, we can't thank you enough for all the time. You are out there everywhere, Twitter, all the social media, I would imagine, correct?
I'm not on Twitter.
No?
But no, I'm not on Twitter. I like the more visual media. So I am on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn.
Sure.
LinkedIn is more for the academic part of me.
Right. That makes
sense. And Instagram, I just enjoy it. I like visual things. I like this short spurt. I can check in with everybody, how they're doing. I am on Instagram.
Perfect.
So I think those two are my
Your
main
ones. Well, that's great. Well, if people want to look you up, they certainly can. And then we'll be patiently awaiting to see what comes out, probably next year if you're going to work on it in June. To see what's next. And people should go out there and check out Claws, the series. It looks pretty exciting.
It was so fun.
And all of the IMDb list is too lengthy to go over it all. But we will look forward to talking to you in the future. And stay healthy. Stay out of the pandemic's way, and we'll get back to normal soon. So thank you so much, Andrea Sooch. Look her up online.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye now. That's it. That's the end.
That's a wrap.
Read the shtick.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you'd like to reach out, you can use the studio line at 612-504-6500. or by email, thedkprojectpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always social media at the DK Project Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.